Yep.
Okay. All right. See y'all.
Bye, Paula.
See ya.
Bye, Paula.
Hi, Joy.
Hey, how are you?
Doing okay? How about you?
Good.
Can't see you yet.
I know. You know, give me a break.
there you
Hey,
There you are. Hi, Joy.
We're into these things, right?
Joy, I love that. I love that beam ceiling behind you. That's really cool.
Oh,
You just froze.
you're rolling.
It was up. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, what happened?
Yep.
Everybody's using all the bandwidth with Netflix.
True.
Actually, it's all Instagram and Twitter about the event in Yardley today, right?
It might be.
It was good. It
So-
It
was
was
very
really good.
So did you see it, Joe? Did you go down and see it?
Yeah, we were standing leaning against the Continental fence. It was really interesting.
Oh
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody's well behaved.
fun.
Suzanne and I said it was amazing. It was so many young people, and that's really
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
really speaks to the movement and to the future.
Yep.
I think. It was really
Yeah, I was going to do
Very-
a,
very-
But I thought also that there was a variety of ages as well, which is good.
yeah, there was, of course, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
but it
Some of
did
us
give
represented the older generation.
gray hairs.
Yes.
I didn't see many gray hairs in there.
A little
I
bit.
was
Yeah.
there. I was there.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we
But you
brought
can
William.
watch.
It was his first protest.
That's
All right.
good.
He was very impressed. He was very,
Oh.
very happy to be a part of it.
Well, I bet. I bet.
It gives you faith in the youth.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I got so hot I had to come back. At the end, I was
I know.
coming back. I was overdressed or something. It was a very hot afternoon.
Well, it is hot out there.
It was.
But it was a moving event and very heartfelt and really,
Yes.
I felt very grateful to be a part of it and to have this kind of spirit amongst our young people and our town. Very proud of us.
Mhm. Yep.
Well, especially, I don't know if any of you are on Facebook, but there's a woman who is a Black woman who takes lots of pictures of flowers and posts them. And she lives somewhere in Lower Makefield. And the other day, she and her white husband were out walking, and she was photographing flowers. And a white couple walked past her, turned around, took her picture. They didn't know what was going on. And very shortly thereafter, the police arrived.
Oh man.
So she was guilty for being Black and taking photographs of flowers.
Oh boy.
With a white man. I thought she was going to be guilty of, I don't know, soliciting a white man.
I know, no.
But-
Apparently the camera is a very dangerous thing, and especially if you're Black. Just horrible. So
Was it-
that's, within a couple of miles of here. And I mean, there are issues. There are issues everywhere.
You know, isn't it interesting? I'll say that our generation was really started the whole movement for equality in the 60s. I mean, it was our generation
Right.
that did that, and it,
Right.
somewhere along the line, it really stopped moving forward and started moving backward. And now the younger generation is going to have to step up and finish.
They got to carry it over the line.
Yeah, I
'cause
mean,
otherwise-
we all remember the 60s and
Yes, we
great
do.
things that happened, the civil rights things that happened. But
Yep.
And women's equality and women's rights. There were
Yes.
so many groups that got addressed all at once. And I think that
Right.
women still need
Women's rights have gone backwards in many ways.
African American community, they got left behind somehow.
Yes, yes. Anyway,
Anyway,
it's awful. It's awful.
yeah,
So.
but it was peaceful and it was really heart-wrenching and moving and
yeah,
I was happy to be there.
So,
yeah, it was a good thing.
so quick question.
My only problem is I don't like the fist.
You don't like what?
The fist.
The fist?
The fist.
Right.
Why, Jerry? I would say get over it.
I would say get over it.
You put the bat.
I use a peace sign.
Well, you
Well,
know,
that's fine. You can have the peace sign. That's great.
Solidarity. It's just solidarity. It's not
Yeah.
violence, it's
well,
solidarity.
tell the board your favorite sign that you saw today.
Oh, so I saw one senior couple. That's not me, I'm not senior yet. And they were standing like sort of back toward where the buildings were. And they had their masks on like everybody did. That was so great.
Yes,
A
yes.
big, long stick with a sign on it, big letters with one word on it. Vote,
Yeah.
vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what everyone can do to affect change. You can march all you
As
want.
long, As
Important.
long as
Gotta
we're
vote.
allowed to vote, as long as we're allowed to vote, I'm very worried.
Oh, we gotta, I'd be protesting that one.
Well, I know, but I'm very worried. And
Yeah.
apparently, even in Bucks County, there were people that applied for, because we voted by mail for this last primary.
Yeah.
There were people that applied for it and never got it. So
No.
that got screwed up. So that can't happen in November. 'cause
That
otherwise
can't
we're
happen in
losing.
November. No, absolutely.
Someone,
Right. So let's hope. Let's hope.
someone from my meeting got it, but she only got it like 2 days before the mail-in time. So she said that she couldn't, she's no way she could get it back to the courthouse. And they said, well, drop it off in Lower Bucks and she doesn't drive. So it means she would have had to ask somebody else to drive her. And so, I mean, that just got all messed up. So I don't know, aren't they receiving mail-ins till like the 8th or something?
They may have extended it. I don't know.
Hope
I don't
so.
know.
Yeah. I thought I heard that as well. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Are we going to discuss tonight? I think that our sign is on the agenda. Is
that's
that
the only thing on the agenda.
Okay. Well, the other thing is Joe's letter. Are we going to talk a little bit about that and your?
I sent in an edited one.
Yeah.
Because Joe said everything was covered in it. It was far
Yep.
more technical and legal.
Okay.
So,
I reviewed that today. I saw it. Yeah. So.
yeah. So, I mean, it was a little technical, a little legalese, a little historic. I think Joe's is more user-friendly.
Hmm.
And I think that was your intent, Joe.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going for. I mean, a lot of those issues are part of that document you sent around, Jerry, the HARB manual, if you will. They were just like, it's hard to get through the whole thing and get those two nuggets, but if you looked at a couple of the
Sure
paragraphs,
is.
it said the same stuff, and you did a good
Yeah.
job of translating it into better technical language than I did, so that's fine.
Yeah, Joe, you've probably seen it, but, the whole survey that was done, I think I sent that along. And so they're all buildings that are of significance. So
Right.
sometimes we talk about significant buildings and some that are not significant. And so that was a list of all the significant buildings. So it's not all the buildings in the district, but it's those that are significant. So if it's a new building, it won't be on that list.
I see.
So when we have an application, we should almost
Yeah, that's a great
look
idea.
at it, look at that list and maybe even have it on a checklist when they fill in the
So
application.
did you revise revive an older list that you had, or did you make up a new list, Jerry?
No, that was a list that was done originally, for the federal survey.
Right. Okay.
I can't change that. That's.
No, we just went over and did another survey to make sure that the current status of the buildings.
No, I just sent that old survey in. Just
Right.
sent that old survey to you.
Okay. So it's the original survey then.
Yeah, I think Jeff Marshall did it or something like that.
Oh, I
And
thought it was. I thought it was updated or something. Yeah.
No, we're all getting older, but I don't know if the buildings keep getting added to the list now. So.
No. Well, no, but there's some but it says on there the current uses and things like that. So there's been some
Oh,
changes.
the uses could change, sure, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. So. But, all
Jerry,
right.
I'm sorry, did that go to the whole committee? And I must have missed it if it did. It's not necessary, just like it'd be great to just have that list if you could send another copy.
You should have gotten it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's buried in my email someplace. I'll look for it, and if I can't find it,
Then
I'll
let me
reach out.
know. But
Yeah,
it's got like the standards, the survey, which is what the entire district is based upon. And we don't have any guidelines. So I think we need to work on guidelines, historic guidelines.
Yeah,
We can talk about shingles and siding and all that stuff, and we should all incorporate all that stuff. So when people go for an application, they have something in their hand that gives them a little more direction than just come before this mean, cruel board and, face their tyranny, so.
But I think it's difficult to establish guidelines when you have different guidelines for different buildings.
In that
Because-
case, we can't. In that case, we can't. But we can do the
Right.
more strict one and say that, these are our standards and they're just guidelines, and each case is different, which it is. I mean, we have to look at we have to look at the age of the building, where they're planning to do the work and everything else, so. But that should all be explained sort of in the guidelines too.
Okay, should we do Tim's app?
I think we should do
Thank
that, yes.
And Joy,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, Suzanne
are
wants
you
to.
gonna present your app?
I'm hungry.
I know, I figure she, I know she likes to be here with us all, but you know.
Boy.
So let me just say, Jerry, to the board that I disqualify myself from this voting or participation of the board. And I would, with your permission, I'd like to make answer any questions and make the presentation. Suzanne can certainly help. Is that going to be okay for the board?
Sounds great.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
All right. Just needs to be said, right? So,
Yeah, very good.
all right.
Suzanne,
So,
are you presenting?
yeah, I
Now,
guess.
whose design is this, yours or Suzanne's?
Well, we do everything like as a collaboration. That's why my company's called N Company. Because I
My
could never
company-
do it without a company. And here's the company.
Okay,
I just started it. That's like no big deal, right? So as you simply can see that we went back to our original sign and just we're replacing the lawn sign that's there with the new sign. Fundamentally, the board's suggestion that the proposed sign clear that porch roof, the bay roof. Once we did the calculation, we'd have to move the clock up, which would, I think aesthetically that wouldn't be good. And it would really be very complicated to move the clock up.
I think you
So-
spent a lot of time in figuring out just the perfect location for the clock, because it does look great.
Yeah, and we looked very carefully at that and said if it went up another 5 or 6 feet or whatever it was, it wouldn't be right. So the whole thing was much better to just leave it as it is. There's also the existing lighting that's in the ground and everything else. So we were trying to be a little creative with it, but I think that we really couldn't comply with the board's request to make it look right. And so we certainly don't disagree with that. So we simply are going to replace the sign that's there. We're using the existing posts. We're just going to be painting them a little different color to complement the sign itself. It's pretty much it. And what you did see on the other application was the small rectangular or a square sign that's also part of the logo that will be next to the door as kind of a directory kind of sign. That's not changing. That was part of the other application, and I see it wasn't included here, but it will be, put in. So that's it basically. So
Okay, I'll include that with a recommendation.
the square sign, yeah, right.
Yeah, the wall signs.
Yep. Mhm.
So, okay. Any questions, discussions from the board?
Not for me, looks good.
Nope.
Any recommendations?
I recommend we approve as submitted.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. So
Okay.
I guess, Tim, you'll be getting a copy of the typed up certificate of approval. So
Sure. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
normally the
Take a look.
applicant,
Oh,
normally I
great.
don't have the applicant's email, but I do yours, so I can do.
All right, that's right. Okay. All right.
All right. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I just would like to make a comment about applications like the fence that we had at the last meeting, where the applicant had placed a fence that had not been approved, and then we suggested putting wood in front of it. I just think in the future, we should, it's not our problem that people go ahead and do work on their property without getting prior approval and coming to us. So I just want us to be mindful of that going forward, because I don't know that we always want to be recommending we cover over something that never got approval in the first place.
Said and true.
Joy,
So I'm not,
So
yes.
Joy, technically, those wood boards are going to rot out because they're laying flat against the other board. So any moisture that gets in between them is going to rot it out right away. So you'd be better off just taking off the plastic and putting up the boards. But
Well, I know that. So I guess part of this being careful is that we're sitting in this situation. I thought about it afterwards, and I thought if we had been in front of the applicant I think I would have handled it a bit differently. It's sort of harder to communicate this way, even though we're seeing people's faces. It just, I just thought about it afterwards, and I thought that was not a good thing, because when the boards do rot, that plastic fence is still going to be sitting there,
Right.
and it's going to be moldy and ugly looking. And it's right there right now within the historic district. And this is a precedence for us, and a negative one, I think. We now have a plastic fence within the historic district. And
So
it bothers me.
And what happens if he doesn't address this in the next, say, 60 days?
I don't know.
Is there a cease and desist, or what, how, a letter from
We complained to the building.
Grafton or something like that, yeah, so.
I guess we complained.
Well,
to
I think we should be vigilant about it, because I think it's important. And I don't want to, because, it's not fair to address this particular application without the applicant being able to be here. But I guess I just wanted to put it on the record, and I know we're also being recorded. I wanted to just put it on the record or out there for all of us to consider going forward. That it's not our problem when someone does something that they should know that they need to have an application for. So, and the other fences on that property in the back are wood.
Right.
So
Joy,
I
I agree with you, and that's why I suggested, that 5-paragraph thing I did last week to get the
Yes.
word out, maybe a little bit better than we may have.
And how are we getting the word out, Joe? Is it going to be
Well,
part of?
I don't think we are. That was the whole point of what I was suggesting, that document that I started with, that Jerry improved
Well,
upon,
it does.
should be
it
posted
does
on the
just-
website, or even distributed to the limited number of property owners within the historic district, and emphasize that, that you have to ask permission and not forgiveness. I mean, that was the whole point. And
right.
so,
But I think
that I agree with Joy's comments about the quality of the workaround that we approved. And we're better off trying to prevent that from happening in the future, rather than
Yes.
getting too carried away with how we mitigate it once it's happened. I mean, it's a lot
Yes.
easier to fix by informing people what their obligations are than it is to, God forbid. And again, I brought this up, and I don't want to get into specifics, but a different situation that we faced in the last couple of months. If that homeowner had gone forward and done the work that we advised against, and ended up never being done because of our advice, it would have been much more difficult to undo. It would have been very expensive and caused a lot of problems. So the more we can get the word out about what people's obligations are, I think the better off we are.
So,
But my experience has been that some of this happens with people who know full well.
Yeah, sure. I'm
And
not a big fan of human nature either.
So I agree. We need to get the word out. I think it should be maybe on the website. I think we should ask to have it put in the newsletter, do it multiple ways, so that we can say it's out there.
why wouldn't you mail it to every person that owns a property in the historic district? I think that makes sense, providing there's some budget to print the letters and mail.
Well, that's it. Is there funding to pay for the stamps? Because the most expensive part of it is the mailing. It's 50 cents essentially, right? 50 cents of.
How many
So-
properties do we have, Jerry, approximately on the inventory list?
I think a few hundred.
Yeah, so it's
I'll deliver them.
not a big deal. I would think
Well,
that would be
we
the
gotta get-
best thing, so.
right. We have
I
to
know.
get council to agree.
Yeah, that's the best thing, because then you're really pinpointing the group of people that we're looking to have exchanges with, instead of the general public that doesn't.
What goes into the newsletter does say that you're supposed to get approval before you do the work.
Oh, yeah, of
So
course.
the article does say that.
Yeah.
Of
But it
course.
doesn't.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hit them in the head.
Well, and we do have people that will try to get away with stuff. That's all. I mean, I know from sitting here for 20 years that
Right.
we have people who know more, know better, but they don't want to follow
Absolutely.
directions.
Yeah. I have a question. I don't know if anybody can answer it. So since, as of tomorrow's date, Pennsylvania is going into the yellow zone now, according to the governor, how is that reflected on borough meetings and borough hall? Does it mean we could go back to public meetings?
I think,
I think the number is 25. I read it today and it said the number of people that could gather is 25, no more than 25.
Right.
So it means we probably could go. I don't know what council's going to do.
I see. Yeah. So yeah, because I'm with you, Joy. I mean, to have a live meeting this is for the birds, really. I mean,
You
it
have, you
works,
still
but
have to separate. You
yeah.
have to separate 6 foot.
But we could do that around that table.
But yeah, well, that's my question. Is it allowed now that there's been a change? Okay, all right.
Within those yellow guidelines, it says, I looked and it said no more than 25 people. So I would assume that would mean we could meet, because we hardly even have 10 people in that room,
That's right. That's
I
right.
think
unless we
we're-
have many applicants.
If we have all 7 of us, or however many we have now.
Yeah, but that's
we
rare.
have a hard time getting in front of that table. 6 7s are 42 foot, so
But that's rare.
that's.
So
true.
in 2 weeks, we may be able to meet at Borough Hall. That would be
But
nice.
once we go green, we can do
Oh, yeah.
regular meetings.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever that is.
Right.
I mean, we'd still have to wear our masks, the whole bit, but I don't know. Well, we can think about what we want to do. I guess we'll follow the lead of what council does and what their other committees do.
I
Yeah,
would
that
think.
would probably be advisable.
Yeah.
All right, guys, if it's all right with you, I'm probably going to exit.
Okay, sounds good.
And nice to see you all. And
Yep.
thank you for working with us tonight. So appreciate that. So
Yeah.
Take care, all.
all right, see you in a
Take care,
couple
folks.
weeks. Okay.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.